Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So today's video I'm going to talk about Saturn transit in Pisces and its impact on Sagittarius rising. Anyone with a Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius ascendant, Sagittarius lagna or moon in Sagittarius. This video is applicable for all of them. So guys, I've shared my email address and I've shared my contact details in the description of this video. Anyone wants to connect with me over a one-to-one discussion around their chart, you can connect with me on my details. Now, this transit happened on the 29th of March 2025, okay, wherein Saturn moved into Pisces. So before I talk to you about, what is coming your way in the next 2.5 years, okay, let me just quickly brief you on what happened 2.5 years prior to 29th of March. So during then, Saturn was transiting in the house of Aquarius, okay, which is in your third house. So in terms of the transit, in terms of the placement of Saturn, that was a good transit, So, however, the aspects of Saturn, they were not on the friendly, planets. They were not on the friendly houses, which means the aspects were on the house of Mars, were on the house of Sun. So these planets, they are not very favorable. I mean, they are like enemies to Saturn. So what happened, then is that in terms of your courage, okay, in terms of your communication, in terms of your writing, in terms of short-term, travels, in terms of your siblings, okay, it was good. Everything was good around that area. However, in terms of your romantic relationships, you faced issues. In terms of your, children, you faced issues. In terms of your education, you faced issues. Okay. Now, the next thing is that in terms of your luck, Saturn was aspecting the house of your luck, which is, a very important house. So in terms of luck, luck did not favor you much. Okay. In the last, 2.5 years. You faced issues with your bosses, you faced issues with your mentors, you faced issues with the long-term travel. Now, coming to the 10th aspect of Saturn was on your 12th house, which means there were expenditures, like there were medical expenditures. You faced issues with sleep. So, that's basically how the 2.5 years were passed. Now, let's talk about what is coming your way in the next 2.5 years. So, guys, this is going to be an excellent transit for you. So I request you to watch this video till the end, because this will give you a lot of insights, around what is coming your way in the next 2.5 years. So after on the 29th of March, Saturn moved into Pisces, which means now Saturn, is now transiting in your fourth house. Saturn for Sagittarius people lords the second house as well as the third house. So second house is the house of wealth. Okay, and third house is the house of courage. So the lord of both these houses is now coming in the fourth house, which is a Raj Yoga in itself. When the lord of second lord is in the fourth house, which is a Raj Yoga. It's a beautiful Raj Yoga for money. Okay, so now Saturn would be aspecting the sixth house of your enemies. Okay, Saturn would be giving an aspect on the 10th house of your profession, and Saturn would be giving an aspect on your ascendant. And these aspects are all on the friendly signs. The third aspect is on the house of Venus, which is an excellent friend of Saturn. The 10th aspect would be on the house of Mercury, which is again an excellent friend of Saturn. And the aspect on the ascendant is also Jupiter, which has a neutral relationship with Saturn. So guys, this is it happens very less that, Saturn is a planet which has a character, wherein, whichever house it sits, it brings expansion in that area. It brings growth in that area. However, the house where it aspects, it creates problems. So during this next 2.5 years, what you would see is that, the place where Saturn is transiting is bringing expansion, and plus all the aspects, you would see expansion in those areas as well. So now let's talk about on each item one by one. So, Saturn, as I said, lords the second house and is now transiting in your fourth house, which means, if whatever, second house is the house of your family, close family. So, guys, whatever money, whatever, like real estate, you would inherit from your family, you would expand that. So it could be that you expand, you get a house, okay, which is, which has an older construction, and you would be able to modify it, beautify that house. So whatever you would get from the family, you may get a piece of land, and you may build on that. So that's the first thing. Now the third aspect is about the communication. So communication at work, communication with your family would be excellent. Now let's talk about the fourth house. So fourth house is basically the house of your real estate, the home, like where you live. It is the house of your vehicles. It is the house of your mother. It is the house about your emotional well-being. So in all these areas, you would see excellent expansion in terms of, there is a very strong probability, you buy a real estate in the next 2.5 years. You would buy a home for yourself. Okay. And there is a very strong possibility that if you're living in a rented apartment, you would move into your own apartment. If you're living in a 2 BHK apartment, like you bought a 2 BHK apartment, you would now upgrade to a 3 BHK. You would living in a villa, you would move to a, so whatever, current state of your real estate portfolio is, in the next 2.5 years, you would see 1 or 2 levels ahead. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is about the vehicle. So very high probability that, you may upgrade your vehicle or you may buy a new vehicle. So in terms of your, mother, your relationship with your mother would be excellent in the next 2.5 years. Her health would also be very good. Her health would improve with this particular transit of Saturn. Now, this next 2.5 years, there would be a lot of emotional happiness at home. So you would be emotionally happy, which is very, very important, guys. Now, let's talk about the aspects of Saturn. So Saturn, third aspect would be on the sixth house, okay, which is the house of Venus. So what would you see in that area is that, one is like you are applying for an IJP at your work. You would be able to defeat the competition. For example, you applying for an IJP as well as, there are 20, 50, 60, 100 more people applying for that. You would be able to defeat the competition, and you would, get that IJP. You would get that promotion. You are applying as a business owner. You are applying for some kind of, like a tender for business, and there are your competitors also who have applied for the same thing. Okay, it is you who would get it and not the others. So in terms of competition, you would be able to beat the competition. If you are a student and you are applying for some kind of an entrance exam, okay, you would be able to rank, you would be able to beat the others, or you would be able to defeat the others. So that's about the competition. So next thing is you would be able to defeat your competitors at work. That is the next thing. Like anybody who competes with you, like your teammates, whatever. I mean, you would be able to defeat your competitors. You would be able to defeat your enemies, your hidden enemies. You would be able to overpower them. Now, in terms of debt, okay, Saturn here would help you raise debt in buying your home. Debt would be easy. Okay, debt would be easy. So in terms of buying a home, okay, you would easily get the debt. If in terms of buying a new car, it is easy. You would be able to get the debt. Now, in case you are stuck in debt, okay, and you want to get rid of the debt, that would also be very easy for you. So debt, you want to raise it or you want to pay it back. Both the sides, it would be very, very easy. Now, the next thing is about the daily routine. Okay, so your daily routine, you would see a lot of discipline. You would see a lot of hard work, in your daily routine. Like, I would say very disciplined daily routine in terms of, like anything you do on a day-to-day basis, like going to work, spending time with your kids, spending time with your romantic relationships, or, spending time with your family, with your wife, with your spouse, with your husband. Okay, so any kind, like, hitting the gym, going to the yoga, going for a walk, going for a run. I mean, your whatever things which you do on a day-to-day basis, you would see a lot of improvement in that area. Therefore, it would automatically impact your profession, your own well-being, physical well-being, mental health. So there would be a great improvement in terms of your, daily routine. Now, the next thing is about the health. So guys, if you've been struggling with any kind of health condition, here you would see that health condition would be cured, would be resolved. If you've been struggling with any kind of a disease, with this aspect of Saturn, that particular, you would see that, either you are getting better around that, or you would be able to cure that completely. So, everything around the sixth house. So if you are stuck with some kind of a legal issue, legal cases, either you would get rid of those legal issues, or you would be victorious. So, a beautiful aspect in terms of the sixth house. So it is completely protecting all the energies of the sixth house. Now, the next aspect would be on your house of profession, and which is again, which is on the house of Mercury. Such a important aspect. So, the seventh house, this is the seventh aspect on your house of profession, which means you would see promotion at work. You would see expansion in your business. You would see growth at your business. You would see growth at work. You would see power. Everything around your profession. You would see more clients, like more business, more sales, more net profit, promotions, higher salary, power at work. So everything around work would be excellent. In the next 2.5 years, there's a very, very strong possibility that you may, elevate to the next level in your profession. So whatever profession you are in, maybe if you are a freelancer, maybe if you're a social media influencer, whatever profession you are doing, you would see a massive expansion in the next 2.5 years. So just one thing you have to be careful about is that, guys, you have to, this time now you have to talk. Okay, you have to communicate. You have to keep talking. So this is one thing because you have to do in terms of your profession. Now, the next aspect would be on your ascendant, which is the house of Jupiter. Okay, ascendant is your physical existence in the world. Ascendant is your image in the world. Your ascendant is, the person whom you carry inside the washroom. That's your rest. Everything else in the world is secondary. So, which is the most important thing? That is your physical existence in the world. So, you would see beautiful, two aspects on your ascendant. One, it is the aspect of Jupiter on its own house, and Jupiter aspects are divine. So that's the first thing you would see, and then it would be the Saturn's aspect on the neutral aspect. So you would develop a lot of character traits like Saturn, like the virtue of hard work, like the virtue of being very, very serious, being disciplined. So you would see your overall social image would improve, your professional image would improve, your image would improve. It's like a kind of the people would perceive you as a completely transformed person, wherein they would see you as a role model for all disciplined person, very stable, very balanced. So all kind of, because of the two very strong, very beautiful aspects on your ascendant. So guys, that's mostly what I wanted to talk about in this video. So it's a beautiful transit. Okay, anybody, you should definitely consider regarding your home, buying a new home. Maybe a second home, maybe a third home, but you may, or maybe buying just a plot. You should definitely consider, all the, you put all the energies in your profession. So yes, you would be a little workaholic because of the Saturn influence in the next 2.5 years. So that's good. That's good. You should be workaholic, and in the next 2.5 years, it's a good time to, just hit the nail in terms of, profession, because it's a good time. So just do the best, and this is something what you would achieve will last with you forever. So, now let's talk about, who gets the impact of this transit. So Sagittarius people, Sagittarius rising, passing through with Saturn times, Saturn Mahadasha, Saturn Antardasha, you would see 100% of this impact. Sagittarius people not passing through with, Saturn times, impact would be 100% there, but little milder. Why am I saying this? Because a planet like Saturn, it transits after every 2.5 years. So these are like, very long duration of time. So with this kind of movement, it is technically all Sagittarius people, would see the impacts. So that's mostly what I want to talk in this video, guys. So if you like this video, I would request you to subscribe my channel, to press the bell notification. And Sagittarius people, I also request you to add a comment, because your comment really validates my effort. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot for your time, and you have a great evening. Thank you.